so we're gonna go over a little deep half guard pass, and this is gonna be more of a concept than like a particular move. So I'm gonna go over some of the details that I think are really important on this position. So my partner Pete is gonna be in the deep half guard. We're just gonna start with like a standard. He's just gonna lock his legs in this configuration. So it's not gonna be like anything too fancy right now. This is sort of just basic overview. So what I'm gonna do first is my hips need to be higher than his hips. So if my hips are lower, he's gonna have more leverage as they are now. He's gonna have more leverage to sweep me. So as he moves back and forth, it's gonna have more of an effect on my hips because my weight is so close to his center of gravity. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to push my hips further up. I'm gonna keep my legs straight. And what's gonna help me is this little grip on the pants. If it's without the gi, I can just post on the middle of the thigh. And I'm gonna start to push my hips higher and higher up towards his shoulders. So this gets my weight onto his chest. Now if he starts to move his hips, it's gonna have a lot less of an effect on me, especially when I'm using this arm as a brace against his leg. It's gonna keep him, it's sort of like a frame, it's gonna keep him from being able to pull me back down. So as my hips are up high on his chest, now I need to worry about this space by his head. We're gonna try to get back to a cross-face position so that I can pass the guard. From here, there's different ways that you can pass. I could sit over the head, but like I said, we're gonna try to cross face instead. So if I can, I'm gonna reach in between where his head is, and I'm gonna grab the collar. This would be the easiest path to do this. So my thumb goes inside the collar, I grab behind the neck, and I stay in this position here. Most of the time, if the guy's really good at playing deep half guard, he's gonna keep his head very tight. So I'm gonna grab on the other side, and I'm gonna make a grip just like I did before on the back of his collar, and I'm gonna raise his shoulders off the mat. So raising his shoulders off the mat just a little bit, I just pull my elbow up, it's gonna make it harder for him to lift his hips off the mat. He still can, but he's gonna have a lot less power. If he's able to put his shoulders on the mat, now he can lift his hips off the mat much easier. So this is gonna sort of like take away some of his options. So I'm gonna make my grip. I pull up just a little bit, I keep pushing, so I'm pushing and pulling. Now my goal is to get this arm on the other side of his head, and to do that I'm gonna bring my hips forward, bring my arm on the other side, and now I'm gonna sink back down. So it's hard for me here if I just wanna, I wanna make this space bigger. I don't wanna just use my arm to push because it's gonna get me off balance. So I'm gonna sink my body into this space. So I can let go of the leg right now, and I can use my hand on the floor. I want to be aware not to expose my arm too much so that he gets an underhook on me. It's going to come in handy later. So try to keep your arm a little bit tighter. I'm going to start to walk backwards. So I'm sort of using my toes to walk backwards, getting my shoulder closer to his chin, and now I'm going to grab behind his shoulder. So as I get lower, I sink back. Now, if you want to come over on this side, I can sprawl my leg. My knee was on the floor, I'm going to sprawl my leg backwards. And I'm going to end in this position here. So a lot of people here are going to keep a really tight lock on the leg. My leg is pretty far out. He's still going to try to move back and forth, but he's not going to have much power here. I'm going to keep this cross face. Now I'm in a much better position to pass here. So this cross face is important. Once this cross face, if at any time you let go, he's going to be able to bring his head in. This is not what I want. So I want to make sure that I keep this cross face at all times. What I will do here is I'm going to switch to a knee cut. So we can pass any different way from here, but I'm going to use a knee cut today. I'm going to try to get to an underhook position. So the easiest way to do this would be obviously to just go in by the elbow if he leaves that space open. A lot of guys are going to hide their arm. If he does this, I'm going to go by the wrist first, try to punch through. I'm going to punch up until I get the underhook. I can grab the shoulder, switch my knee, base my other leg out, and finish a standard knee cut here. So another option for us to get you guys used to the concept, I want to keep this cross face. I can actually let go of the shoulder as long as I replace it with something else. So I'm going to replace it with my head. So I'm going to go under, get my underhook. So I'm going to go under, I keep my underhook. Now I'm going to replace my head where my arm was. So I'm going to take my arm out, bring my head down. Now this is going to act as my cross face. So now I base my hand on the floor, switch my hips, my knee's going to drive straight down to the floor, and I'm going to use my head just like I would use my shoulder. My shoulder pressure goes into his face. My head is going to pressure using my hand. I'm going to drive my head towards his head. Once I feel like I can push his legs open, I do so. Now I'm going to go to side control. So this pass, I'm not going to slide my hip for this one. It's not wrong, but for this one, I'm going to keep my knee here. A lot of people get into the habit of lifting their head up so that they can slide out. This sometimes creates a little bit too much space you can frame, and it presents other problems. There's ways to pass like this. You're going to have to bring your weight back if you like to slide your knee out. But instead for today, I just want to show you're going to drive your knee to the floor. We're going to put a lot of pressure up top, and I'm going to kick the legs open. And we're going to end in side control. Okay, let's go over it one more time. So we're starting in deep half guard. I'm going to create my brace. I'm going to push against the leg, and I'm going to slide my weight as high as I can up, and I'm going to orient my hips straight. So I'm not going to be facing to the side. I'm going to try to point myself like I'm looking towards his feet. Now I'm going to create a grip behind the neck. If I can go in between my hips and his head, that's great. If I can't, I'm going to grab behind the collar. Now I'm going to project my hips forward, and I'm going to bring my arm behind his head. Now I'm going to start to sink my body back into this space. So he may try to move here. I'm going to start to bring my weight, walk back. As soon as I can get my shoulder lower, I'm going to grab behind the shoulder. Now I'm going to sprawl my leg back. This is very important. My knee is going to be by his head. Now it's going to sprawl towards his hip. Now I'm in a much better position to slide my hips down. Now I'm going to underhook if I can. I'm either going to switch my head or I'm going to pass with the standard knee cut. I base my leg out on the floor, switch, push, or our other option, bring my hand out, switch, push,